What is up, YouTube? It's Rahul. We've got another Battle Breakdown episode today. I'm sorry for no video on Wednesday. I kind of have been playing RCS a lot, and I didn't really have any idea of what to push out yet. I haven't started working on lists for Brilliant Stars, so I didn't want to force out some content I didn't like. That being said, I am going to be offline for a full week between like the 14th and the 20th of February, and I don't know what to do content on before Brilliant Stars drops. So if you guys have any suggestions in the comments, leave them. I will have a Battle Breakdown video for that Friday. But besides that, I don't know what I want to do for Monday and Wednesday. So let me know in the comments what you would like to see me do. Because I got to get that done before I leave for something. I'm going to be completely offline, no internet whatsoever. Just a nice little vacation with some family members and some friends. So it'll be fun. But today's matchup, without further ado, sorry for the little intro and whatever, is the 2015 Pokemon US National Championships between Jason Klaczynski and Enrique Avilla. Enrique was one of the few people that brought a very cool Wailord EX stall deck that was unexpected, completely out of left field, and they did really well, and no one really knew how to play against it because no one really knew what was in the deck at that point in time. Everyone played against it, but everyone kept reporting different cards, different texts, whatever. Everyone's like, what is going on? How do we beat this Wailord deck? Jason Klaczynski, one of the greatest players of all time, our only 3-time TCG World Champion, had never claimed a national title, and he was playing Seismitoad, and this was his first time claiming it. There was 3 grueling games, and you'll see right now why Jason is one of the greatest of all time and why he claimed it. So we'll skip ahead a little bit to where they start introducing. You can see Jason is flexing his first places, playing Seismitoad Garbodor, a very powerful combination. Garbodor plus N, it was always a good combination. Item lock plus ability lock, or like item lock plus ability lock plus N, putting your opponents like 1 to 2 cards, using cards like Hypnotoxic Laser. Then you have Enrique here. Has done virtually nothing at this point in time. Enrique is an incredibly good player. Repping his, he looks very excited. A Finals of Nationals is nothing to scoff at. Wailord was just a very beefy, tanky Pokemon, and you would just slap some tools onto it, keep using these healing supporters over and over again. Now, I know, yeah, Seismitoad does minuscule damage, but the idea is you can't use items. This Wailord deck used cards like Rough Seas to heal, as well as cards like AZ, I think Acerola was here too. Not Acerola. AZ, Sean. Like it had a lot of like healing cards. There was one card that was like really really weird that I forgot the name of. Was it Hue? It might have been Hue, where like it just makes both players discard their hands down to 5. So I think that was a crazy tech card as well. But the Wailord deck predominantly played a lot of supporters. Wow, there's a lot of interview stuff here. So from Jason's side, he needs to take it to time. Unless Enrique bricks somewhere along the line, Jason needs to take his time and kind of figure out the game. He's not in any threat of anything. He has to manage cards and resources. This matchup is not about anything besides Jason really getting the ball rolling, because Enrique's never going to attack. And that is something very important to note. Enrique will never attack. And Jason still has to set up a Garbodor, because if he doesn't, Enrique can just put this Suicune in the active spot, and the Suicune can't take any damage, so it kind of just does the job. There's the Hard Charm, there is the Silent Lab, and a Pass. Enrique is playing lightning speed. He was very excited. That is one thing that I will mention a couple times, because I think that if Enrique had slowed down his pace of play a little bit just to match Jason's even, then I don't think this game would have ever gotten to the point that it did. Now, Jason's deck plays a myriad of hammers, crushing hammers, enhanced hammers, whatever. It's all about control. It's all about locking your opponent, making them have a terrible time playing the game. And all those cards do nothing in this matchup, because Wailord just sits there. And also, whenever you're attaching, well, I mean, Water Veil doesn't matter here, but yeah. So Jason just wants to get the Toad up and running as quickly as possible, start putting damage onto the board. And I mean, Jason's win condition is to start putting pressure on before Enrique can kind of dig through his deck and find stuff. Because the one downside of the Wailord deck is it didn't have that many draw supporters or ways to like search cards out. It didn't play like heavy researches or stuff like that. And then Jason here making a mental note of his prize cards. Xerosic as a supporter, a free retreat, and 50 damage. Strong start all around. And we're going to see the Flare Grunt from Enrique and a Pass. And a very similar note, Enrique is also going to be going ahead and trying to get those energies off the board. They're both playing heavy amounts of Disruption, but the difference is the Disruption in Jason's deck is, well, useless. And the one that's in Enrique deck is what he wants to find, as well as healing. So Enrique is kind of feeling the pressure right now. The first moment in this game that Enrique will be able to feel a sigh of relief is when he can, find the second Wailord. Until he finds the second Wailord, there won't be like really a moment of relief for him. Now there's no Verbank out, but Jason does have the Verbank in hand. I'm pretty sure I saw the Verbank in Jason's hand. Jason doing an expert job of not evolving. I'm gonna move my camera over so you can see actually the Wailord instead of the Seismitoad. Jason doing an expert job of not playing the Verbank down because he knows that it is not the Silent Lab that is the issue here. The biggest issue is gonna come down to the rough seas, and if he doesn't bounce those rough seas in a timely manner, he will lose the game if one of those rough seas sticks. Because if you're going to do 50 with Toad and 10 with a laser, healing 30 in between turns is just not going to do you any good. You see that Max Potion in Enrique's hand, a card that's probably done him many wonders throughout this tournament. But against this matchup in particular, it will not do anything because Seismitoad will not stop Quaking Punching the entire game. You can probably break it for one turn if Enrique ever gets a chance to break it by using those Flare Grunts, those Zerosics, whatever, you know. In that situation, he will get that free turn to Max Potion, and it will probably swing the game entirely, you know. We already see 2 double colors in Jason's discard. Jason has to be very, very, very mindful of his energy attachments, very mindful of what supporters he has left, and, well, I mean, if he kind of mismanages a little bit, it just gets really, really hard. You see Jason expertly grabbing the water energy, just throwing it onto the Toad, getting ready. Enrique probably also played Enhanced Hammers. I don't remember his exact list, to be completely honest, but Enrique also probably played cards like Enhanced Hammers. And so if he had that, then it would have been, you know, really, really good in those situations. But unlike that turn 1 when that Trubbish was in the active. But we see Jason expertly attaching ahead of time, just preparing. We see the Pokemon Fan Club, and that is the first moment Enrique can breathe a sigh of relief. Because until that moment, well, this Wailord was not long for this world. Yeah, I know it's got 250 HP, but Jason had set it up perfectly to get knocked out next turn. He breathes a big sigh of relief, slaps down the Wailord, and there's a pass. Another 10 damage. Now, Jason has the knockout, I believe that's 180, 190. 50 plus 10 will come down, and that will take the knockout. Jason also can use the Verbanks to perfectly set it up so that the damage will come back into his turn, if so. And so Jason's checking his discard over and over again. We'll see Jason take his sweet time. This is a little bit of a controversial Shadow Triad for the laser. Just kind of using the supporter when he has a chance to right now, because he's going to have to do it at some point anyway. So he's just signaling, I'm going to have to get this laser back at some point, so I'm going to do it now. We're going to see the Suicune hit the board. We're going to see a Skyla grabbing a supporter probably for Enrique. There's the Rough Seas. Probably not wise to play it yet. Nope, just going to play it straight away. I think Enrique should have held that Rough Seas for at least a little bit longer until the Suicune maybe hits the active, or until at least Jason swings in for a turn, because now Jason can freely drop the Verbank city, whatever, stadium. So a little bit of a wait. The laser flip does not matter whatsoever. Yeah, but I will mention that Jason's taking his time a couple of times in this series because there's a little bit of a point of contention amongst top players, specifically because clock management is something that is a little bit of an interesting topic and a little bit controversial of a topic. So Jason was lauded by some for his expert clock management, scorned by others for his quote-unquote slow playing. I think I don't have really an opinion on that matter. I just think Enrique played a little too fast, because you can see that Enrique is playing at a blistering lightning pace, even though he is the stall deck. He is the deck that cannot take any prize cards, and he needs Jason to run out of resources. So he's the one that needs to kind of slow the game down a little bit, but he is playing so fast. Look at that. Like, this isn't 2x speed, I know, but Enrique his turns are taking like 10 seconds. Whereas Jason is drawing his card, taking his time, looking through his discard, looking through what. And he's asking Jason what's in his discard, as opposed to taking it and looking for himself. I'm on 2x speed. It's probably been like 15 to 16 seconds now, and Jason still hasn't taken an action. We see the laser hitting the board. Jason was tiptoeing the line of judges, basically saying, hey, you need to make a move every single turn. So we see the same Plasma Triad play. He's going through each action meticulously as well. Kind of it is good for the cleanliness of the game and like whatever, but you can also tell there's like a little bit of a time issues here. And both these players, I think for the first time in Nationals history, the night before they released the lists, so both players had full knowledge, and that really gave Jason an edge, because no one knew what was in this, like I said, no one knew what was in this Wailord deck whatsoever heading into the finals. So if the Wailord deck had not had its list revealed, then Jason would have been able to get that practice in, get that theory in. And now this Trubbish that's kind of oh so problematic on Jason's board gets to leave. It can't get stuck in the active anymore, and we're going to see another Quaking Punch. Another AZ from Enrique. expertly just picking it up, throwing up the Suicune, and passing. Now the Suicune can't take damage besides anything with the Hypnotoxic Laser, or we're going to have to see Jason go ahead and get this Trubbish down. And if Jason puts the Trubbish down, Enrique can go ahead and make a 2-turn plan with a Zerosic and and then a Lysander on the turn following to bring the Garbodor up. But on the turn he's Zerosic, if a tool hits the board, it doesn't do anything, really. Jason is still Quaking Punching because the effect still lasts. So it's not like... That's the weird card. It was Cassius. That's right. Cassius picks one of the Pokemons and shuffles it right back into the deck. Wow, what a strange card. That's a card that, like, nobody actually, like, legitimately expected. And I remember, like, watching the top 4 game, I think, with Enrique and Grant, it might have been. And I was like, what the hell is that card? I remember literally, like, going like to my friends after, and I was like, what was that card? Like, that card, I've never seen that card, like, in my life kind of deal. Now, Jason's lasers are the most important card, obviously, in the matchup. Sorry to break, like, professional character there. I just, like, yeah, there's a Zerosic off the top. And you can see that Enrique is kind of living off top decks at this point because this deck does not have many cards or many ways to draw cards. So it's basically just like a fan club plus like my hand is okay kind of deck. And eventually like every player kind of overexerted to try to kill Wailords. And at the moment they overexerted, they lost. I think almost every deck in this format actually had a good shot at beating Wailord. It's just that no one prepared accordingly. And now Jason has to bench a myriad of things because he needs to find himself cards to continue the Quaking Punch lock, and he's down 3 DCEs, so he knows one of his 2, maybe 3 water is left, and that's it. So he's going to go ahead and Garbodor lock here, which is going to be perfect for him to stop these safeguards. But he's got to be very cognizant of the fact that, well, he's running low on deck size and resources, and he's got to make sure, like, this Suicune prize does not change anything, and Enrique was very smart on the turn he Cassius'd, because even though Jason takes the Suicune prize, there's just 2 Wailords left. Like, what do you do? Now, Enrique just brings up the Toad and passes. I think bringing up the Garbodor would have been a little bit better. And Jason looking at his hand going, I don't want to N. I don't want to have to N. I have a water energy, and I have nothing else. I am blanks. So there's the N. Jason wants to also expertly hold his N's towards the end of the game because he knows he's going to be able to take probably 5 prizes pretty easily. And so once those prizes get taken, then he can just chill. But every N is going to give Enrique 6 brand new cards. And, well, that's really good for Enrique because that hand was kind of blanks. And his whole deck is cards like this Cassius, this Hugh, this Skyla, the AZ. So it's just all cards that will let him play the game a little bit more. So Jason had probably a pretty good inkling. Now, it's also, like, let's note again here, for transparency's sake, it's been, like, a solid, like, minute there. That turn took, like, a full minute of Jason just, like, thinking. There's a VS Seeker, there's a Lysander. The lock has been broken, ladies and gentlemen. But Enrique does not have enough items to capitalize. Another pass. If Enrique can find some of those crushing hammers that he potentially plays, I don't actually remember if he played hammer. That's, like, entirely on me, though. Like, if he didn't, then, well, oops. But there is a Trick Shovel, a really cool card from Enrique, where you can mitigate the top card of your opponent's deck. A card played install, a really, really cool card because you could look at the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you like it, you keep it there. If you don't like it, throw it into the discard. So Enrique gets to take free hits on the top of his deck, and a Stadium is a great one there because he knows that means his Rough Seas can stick a little bit longer. And if Enrique can find some more of those Trick Shovels, then, well, we're in a good spot. Enrique is expertly burning those VS Seekers, just making sure that doesn't get stuck in the deck. Jason is looking for his... Okay, I want to mention that Enrique is probably in a very winning spot here. Enrique is in a spot where this game is, like, kind of in his hands. Jason's down to, like, a few cards left in deck. Enrique has a myriad of... He's got, like, a girth of cards in his hand, like a grip. Like, he's got a full grip of cards. Jason is down 3 DCEs. Like, this Game 1 scenario should be Enrique's under any scenario, but he is passing way too fast. And in a 75-minute game... That means you're giving Jason so much time. Now, Jason's eating a lot of time off the clock because even though he knows, like, this game is... Yeah, look, immediate draw, immediate pass from Enrique. Like, even though Jason knows that he's probably going to lose this game, he knows that he needs to eat up enough time with the clock because the only way he can probably win this game is sudden death. Now, he gets that Floatstone, so there's the go signal for Jason. There's a go signal, there's the laser, there's the Floatstone, there's a Stadium, and there's probably going to be an N here from Jason, knowing that Enrique put a bunch of cards back. It's a little bit premature that I think more premature than he wanted to do it, but he knows Enrique's got a full grip of hands, cards like 9, 10 cards in his hand at this point, with an AZ guaranteed in there, which means that if you do this, your laser is no longer going to stick. So you have to kind of hope on a prayer that this kind of sticks a little bit. The 3 water energies means that Jason is going to start counting and going, okay, maybe it's go time. Maybe I need to start taking prize cards. I'm going to do the 120. Nope, it's not. It's just going to be continuing the lock. He says it's not time to break the lock yet. We see a single Flare Grunt, which now signals to everyone that one more Flare Grunt and Jason will probably not be able to attack for the rest of the game. Can't research anymore, and we're going to see another Quaking Punch. The Grenade Hammer option is no longer on the table. There's another Flare Grunt, and there goes the energy. That is another crazy top deck from Enrique to stay in this game. And there is 220 damage. Jason's not going to be able to attack here, but the knockout's still going to come through. This last prize, however, from Jason is going to be incredibly difficult to take. What Enrique should also be doing before we go into a Game 2 scenario is kind of checking all of the prize cards for Jason because... or like the discard pot for Jason, just because that will basically... I mean, you've basically seen all of Jason's deck at this point. Yes, I know the lists are out, but just to double check what's there, what's not, how he's played the game, you kind of get an approach for how Jason wants to take this matchup in Game 1, because like I said, no one has any idea of how they wanted to play the matchup heading in. Now, Jason's got to hold that end till the very last card in his deck is gone. We're going to see the Dowsing Machine for the Lysander, bring up the other Toad. I think bringing up the Trubbish would have been fine also in this situation, just because you've already seen 2 Floatstones. So I think it's completely okay to assume that maybe like there's a sticking here. A pass, a pass, a pass, a pass. Look at Jason taking his sweet time, whereas there now we see Enrique stop and take a look at all the cards, counting all the ends, counting all the resources. Nothing to write home about, to be honest. Just there's the fan club, and grabbing another Wailord should be the nail in the coffin. I would not like you just take those 2, put them in your hand. I think Enrique had a Sacred Ash in his hand, so he could have ashed them back in and then done it off the back of that. So we're just gonna see a pass. Another pass. I think that last prize card for Jason is the Double Colors Energy, which does signify that it's probably... And there's the Hue. Both players discard down to 5 in their hand. And Jason's saying, I gotta go first. Let me do it first. And then a pass. And there's Jason's last card. And there's a Scoop. There's a DCE. And we're going to go to a Game 2. Now, Enrique had some rough prizes, to be fair. There was a Cassius in there. There was a Rough Seas in there. There was a Wailord in there. But that was the risk that this stall deck took. Now, Enrique taking a quick... Not a quick Game 1, but like... That was a Game 1. Leaving us with... Let's see where the clock starts us off. Where's the clock? Why can't I see? Why is there no clock on this? What is this Twitter? What is this Twitter thing? I hate this. Can I please have the time? I remember I was watching. There was a really rough experience I was going through in that Worlds. A friend of ours had passed away at that Nationals while we got that news. So it was a rough time for me that Sunday. So I don't remember watching this clearly. A Flare Grunt immediately off the top. 2 Wailords to start as well. Already, it's a very strong start from Enrique. Dude, I don't know how much time is left. Like that is like the only thing I care about right now. But there's no time indicator. Is there just never a time? I'm like looking. There's like never a time indicator. But okay, about 40 minutes have passed, which means probably 30-ish minutes of this broadcast has been in that Game 1. Had Enrique taken a little bit more time, we probably could have been like a 33, 35-minute scenario. We're going to see Enrique play cards, do things, kind of just start building his hand up. A Skyla for a Via Seeker, a very interesting play. I think he's just going to try to start looping those Flare Grunts, which is fine. And doing it the Via Seeker way is better just because you get to keep the Flare Grunt in the deck that also remains. Jason also with another hand of blanks, a grip of blanks, another pass, another pass. Enrique needs to be slowing his game down. He has taken Game 1. That is all Wailord can do. You cannot win in a sudden death scenario. You can never take that prize card. Yeah. Enrique should be taking another 5 seconds, 6 seconds, I don't know. Just longer than he is currently taking. Right now the game is like Jason is still thinking, and I mean, if you're Jason, there's probably a myriad of things running through your head, just like, what do I do? How do I come back into this game? Like, I'm giving Enrique so many cards. I need to have like some sort of a miracle stick here. I don't know what the situation is, but we're just gonna see passes across the board. Yeah, all Jason needs to do is really like start attacking at some point, but he already has. But there's not like okay, if you're Jason, there's already 3 Pokemon on the board, so there's not that much pressure, to be honest, because nothing is really applying to you. You need to end the turn you start attacking. and probably Laser Burbank as well. So unless you find like a Zerosic, I think you don't really care about playing any of the other cards in your hand. You're just chilling because you just need to find ways to start attacking, and that's like literally it. You don't need to thin your deck or anything right now. You don't need to care. Like, you just need to take some time. There's the clock. Finally. Oh my god. There's 31 minutes left. That is so little. Like, that is so hard for Jason to even win the game. Like, Enrique should just be taking a couple extra seconds here. The instant draw pass is like fine, but it's very easily to head us to a tie. Not a tie, but like a sudden death scenario. We're going to see, there's Jason's go signal. He's missing the laser, but he's just going to go ahead and, no, I think he has the laser, actually. There's the N. We're going to see the first end of the game. Jason finally finds his go signal. He's got the N, he's got the DCE. Enrique's grip of like 18 cards at this point gets thrown back into the deck. The Flare Grunt was in there. Losing the Skyla and the VS Seeker, just 2 cards to be thinned, is completely okay. I think if Enrique had cards like Fan Club in his hand, which I didn't see because he just drew past immediately, he should have been playing those just to thin a little bit, because I think you have all the basics you need for pretty much the remainder of the game. Maybe one more Wailord and you're good to go. And I think you could have just Fan Club for the Wailord as well. See that there's Fan Club in his hand, and if he had it before, I don't think he wanted to do anything with it. We do see a couple of AZs. An immediate Flare Grunt. Okay, all right. Jason, I legitimately don't remember how Jason ended up winning this game, but let's find out. There's the 60. There's another Flare Grunt. Jason's down to 2 DCEs. That's crazy. Like this is just so bad. If you're down to 2 DCEs, you need to take 6 prize. You need to take these 6 prize cards to take us a sudden death. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just so hard. There's the laser coming through. There's the tails. There's 2 waters in the hand, which is fine, I guess. But we're gonna see the damage come through. Enrique can chill. He's got like double AZ, I think, in the hand too. Like, you're vibing. Like, now Jason gets a chance to stack energies, which is fine. But I think Jason legitimately knows, hey, I'm running out of energies. I don't think I can keep the item lock up for much longer. I think I got to start grenade hammering. And now grenade hammer, you can see, well, let me move me up a little bit so you can see it. Right under me is 130 and does 32 of your bench Pokemon. So while Jason knows he wants to keep the lockup to prevent like max potions and stuff like that, he does not have the time to do so. So I think I remember Jason starting to grenade hammer, but if that wasn't the case, well, he should start grenade hammering now, like right away. Like, there should be no hesitation on grenade hammers starting this turn if possible. Well, I mean, I guess not this turn exactly, because you don't have the Garbodor, but he needs to get that Garbodor. Oh yeah, I guess the rule was taking 4 prize cards to take us to game 3, huh? So I guess Jason has to take 4 prize cards, which means everything on the board, which takes us to the game 3. And time is ticking. Time is ticking like so fast right now. Like, Jason is also taking his sweet time here, but it is not. Time is not on his side. Just a Quaking Punch and a pass. He's debating when is the best time to kind of fire off what needs to happen. Enrique doing exactly what I said earlier, thinning his hand deck out a little bit, getting some of those crucial Pokemon that are blanks out of his deck and burning another blank in the form of a Fan Club. Because the moment the only way this Wailord deck really loses is if you can stake it with a hand of blanks, and well, he just got to make sure he doesn't do that. We see the Garbodor. We see the Quaking Punch. Now we're seeing Enrique kind of wait for his moment to hew, because he has the hew in hand, and we're going to see this, the AZ, a little bit preemptive, I think, of an AZ, just picking it up off the board. I think this Suicune should have come back down, just because we're going to continue AZ looping. We're going to do that. I think letting Suicune fall is completely fine here, because it's a prize that doesn't actually matter. And yeah, I just think keeping your AZ is a little bit more important in the situation, because if Jason's going to, like, I think that's the first big mistake from Enrique. Like, if Jason's going to start grenade hammering at some point. Also, again, Enrique is playing so fast, man. Jeez, man. Okay, like, jeez. Like, just a simple, like, all he had to do, I think, is, like, let that thing die and keep another AZ, which means another way to cycle, which means Jason can't take those 4, get to that 4 prize card number, because he still has to go through 2 Wailords. Jason every single time has to go through 2 Wailords to get to that 4 prize card number. Wow, this is painful to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is painful to watch. He did an AZ. Enrique has completely locked into the fact that Jason is going to be Quaking Punching every single turn, but Jason has the knockout with Grenade Hammer. Like, Jason just has it with Grenade Hammer right here with the 130. But, I mean, Jason is evaluating, do I give him an access to a VS Seeker? Do I do that right now? Like, will that change anything? No, he said, I don't want to give him access to the VS Seeker. Pass again, pass again, pass again. There's so many cards in Jason's hand. I think this would have been a good time to play the Hue. Just make it weird for Jason. At the very least, just kind of like make him decide what cards to discard. I think that was also a great time to play the Hue. I think you can't hold off on that Hue for too long, just because like you're giving Jason so much time to figure out what he wants to do. But by playing your own Hue, you can get rid of some of those items in your hand that are kind of clogging up your hand as well from Enrique's side, and some of the Pokemon that you kind of have filled your hand with. Yeah, I understand you're going to pitch a lot of resources, but I think you got it. You have to like pull the trigger on the Hue at some point. We're going to see the VS Seeker. We're going to see the N. I think this is Jason's go signal. There's the 1. There's the N. He needs to get a Verbank, I believe, because he's hitting for 30, putting it at 210, and then it goes to 240 with a Verbank. Maybe you don't need a Verbank, actually. It's fine. With Verbank, it dies coming back into your turn, which is fantastic for Jason, because then you get to continue your aggressive lock. And for Enrique, you were just looking for another AZ, and I think I saw Cassius in that hand. I think I saw Cassius. Dude, how does Enrique lose this? Yeah, there's the Cassius. We're going to see the Whale getting thrown back in. But the rest of the hand is blanks. I will say that. I think Enrique's hand is like completely blanks beyond that point. So now he's stuck with 2 Whales and not really much else. I see a couple items in there. I think I saw Dowsing and maybe a Fan Club, and that's pretty much it. So Enrique's hand is now stuck with blanks. So it'll be interesting to see where Jason makes the call. There's a Rough Seas. Where Jason makes the call to kind of just go. Because you have to, if you're Jason, if you're Enrique, you have to be knowing that time is dwindling. You have to be understanding that there's like probably a few minutes left on the clock, if anything. Another N. There's a Verbank, I think. Yep. So I think this is a very hard call, because the moment you start Grenade Hammering, you're opening up yourself to getting max potioned like consistently. But I think if you're Jason, you have to Grenade Hammer at some point. It just has to be a call. I don't know. Maybe I'm just completely incorrect in the Grenade Hammer call, but I think he has to do it. Like, if I'm in Jason's spot, I don't feel comfortable. Like, I would not feel comfortable at all with what's going on. Like, we're in a bad spot. Rough Seas. Did Enrique Rough Seas last turn? Enrique did not Rough Seas last turn. That's actually huge. 30 damage is big. You kind of have to Rough Seas. Oh, no. Oh, no. So if you're Enrique, what I would do is while you're already placing the damage on board, go, I'm going to Rough Seas as you're doing damage to start my turn. Like, that's just, you just have to announce that. Like, it's a very simple way to not forget what you're doing. And most of the time your opponents will just be okay with it. And we're going to see the Flagrant come through. Second water hits to discard, meaning that Grenade Hammer is no longer an option for Jason. Okay. So Jason's just going to lock for the whole game, I guess. Like, that's just going to be what's happening. Enrique draws. Rough Seas, come on. Simple as it is. Yep. Do not forget the Rough Seas. That's just like the biggest thing you can't do anymore. And an N. So we're going to see an N come through. Both players are going to be able to reach their hands real quick. 19 minutes. Has 10 minutes only passed? Really? So we saw the timer? There's no way, dude. There is no way only 10 minutes has passed. That cannot be right. What? So was just the first one wrong? Was just the first time wrong? Like that was a full 30 minutes that has passed in between. I mean, clearly 75 minutes is not passed, right? Like 75 minutes is not passed, is not eclipsed. So I guess like they just didn't put 75 minutes on to start. Maybe they put 50 on. Maybe they put like 60 on, and they just added time after. That's the only thing I can think of. Like they probably put 60 on and added 15 after, or put 50 on and added 25 after. But oh, and I think Enrique's entire hand was an N into bricks. Like I see 5 items in that hand. That is not good. I'm still confused about the timer. What is going on here? What is this conspiracy theory? Has no one figured this out in 7 years of Pokemon? I feel like someone had to have said something at some point, and I just missed it. And a very I think Enrique forgot the rough seas again last turn, dude. I think I've counted 2 Enrique missed rough seas so far in this set. So Enrique is definitely letting the nerves get to him. I think Enrique has kind of fallen into this like comfort autopilot zone, and it's very easy to do with a stall deck like this, where like your actions are not like that complicated. You're just kind of like doing like a pass kind of strategy. So he's setting up for the AZ next turn. We see the N. Jason, knowing that this is his moment, he has to end. He has to make sure the AZ doesn't hit this turn. If it doesn't, he's got a 1-turn window really here to take those first 2 prizes and kind of start the ball rolling. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Laser, there it is. 60. Cassius, oh my dude, how does Jason win this? How does Jason win this? I am so curious from this point onwards that I don't actually understand. I like legitimately don't know. Also, why give him the Wailord? Why? I mean, I think you just make him burn. I think you just make him burn 2 attacks or 3 attacks with the Rough Seas on the Suicune. The Suicune prize does not matter. Jason needs to take 4 prizes regardless, yeah? So you just don't care. You just send up the Suicune. You say, this prize does not matter for me. You can have it. I will figure it out. It like legitimately does not matter as a prize card, right? So you just have to give it up. I think give up the Suicune. That's the reason it's there. It's your 7th prize. In this situation, it's that 5th prize that doesn't matter. Now Enrique's doing some quick math here. Figuring out, am I dead? Am I not dead? He's just going to pass. 140. The flare tool coming down from Jason. And a perfect 240. Again, I don't understand why the Wailord is hitting the active. I think you just need to buy yourself some turns, buy yourself some time. Again, the Suicune has to hit the active at some point, and I think this was the best time to do it. Again, I understand the Wailord's going to survive, but you need some turns to find yourself those like those healing and stalling cards. You don't have those cards in your hand, so Enrique, like, look at that entire like process of like 3 turns took like 5-6 seconds kind of deal. Like that was like an incredibly fast grip, and there's 11 minutes left on the clock. Enrique just needs to play a little bit slower, and we're never going to sudden death. There's a Suicune. I think if you give up the Suicune and buy yourself 2 turns, you have 2 turns to find yourself cards that can potentially be healing cards. And well, we didn't find healing cards, right? Like there's the AZ. So this would have been the turn where you found the AZ. Sure, I think the Wailord still goes down, but yeah, Jason is down to like a few cards left in deck. There's a Zerosic. I think you take the Muscle Band there. I don't think the DCEs matter anymore. I think you have to take the Muscle Band damage off the board and force Jason to find another Muscle Band. Just because I think that 20 extra damage is kind of adding up really quickly. I'm sure if like you find another, I guess like just go over the DCs is fine too. Like 1 more DCE in the game ends for sure. So like maybe that's just completely fine because that last DCE is the like penultimate card. So we're gonna see another 80 come down. No Suicune, just don't bench the Suicune. That's the only thing you have to do. It's a misplay, I think. Pass over, and we're gonna see the tails again, and an N. I think I would have maybe just AZ'd there to get the laser damage off because I would have looked at Jason's discard. I think considering everything that's in Jason's discard, I think a majority of all the cards he has is gone. So if you AZ, then you're forcing Jason into a situation where he can no longer N and get the card that he needs. So I see a Hue, but I don't see anything else. So complete blanks from Enrique. I think he played it a little bit greedy. A little bit on autopilot. And Jason understands at this exact moment that we are going to a game 3. That we are going to a sudden death. You can see immediately the change in Jason's pace of play. He has slowed down to a snail's pace. He knows this game is done. No matter what Enrique does, unless Jason decks himself out. And now Enrique starts taking his time. Oh, this is so painful to watch, dude. Oh no, dude. Oh no. Oh man. If Enrique had just counted one turn prior, I think you AZ and it's fine. Enrique thinks he won. Enrique thinks the game is over. In his mind, it's like Jason can no longer attack for the rest of the game. But now let's watch Jason and see how he expertly milks these 7 minutes left on the clock to take us to a sudden death scenario. Enrique is head nodding. He has only one. He has been tunnel visioning on only one thing this entire game, which was, well, I mean, taking those prize cards. There's a laser. Jason's just playing actions. He's doing actions. So it's not considered slow playing. He's just doing stuff. He's legally still doing stuff. He's making plays happen across the board. We're going to be able to see the Sacred Ash hit the board. Enrique is now taking actions. Enrique should just be passing like as fast as possible, basically. Like we'll get one more Wailord into play and just start passing. But I think Enrique has now fallen into a comfort zone, which is really unfortunate. This is like a prime example of how comfort can be a killer. Just toss it. Always toss it. You got to start going ham at this point. Play the max potion. There's no... Enrique, what are you doing? It's been 2 minutes! Enrique's turn started with 7 minutes and ended with 5. Like, you cannot do that at this point in the game. You cannot fall into that comfort. Oh, this is so frustrating to watch because, like, I know Enrique personally, and I wish I could just yell at him, dude. And he benches the Suicune too, which doesn't do anything for him. That's just, I mean, you're not going to get attacked anymore, but that's fine. Just put the whale down and pass. Pass. You just got to keep passing. You got to pass. You cannot. There's a pass. Enrique, stop. Right now. Draw pass. You don't even look at your hand, man. Don't even look at... There's nothing you can do anymore. Don't even look at your hand. There's nothing that needs to be done anymore. Oh my god. I cannot imagine what it would have felt like being in that final. Just pass. Just immediately pass. No, play the Hue. Play the Hue. You have to play the Hue to make Jason fill his hand to 5 at this situation. You have to play the Hue there to fill Jason's hand to 5. Because I think it's both players draw 2-5, correct? So, like, I think you have to play the Hue to... Like, I think that was the best Hue turn. I might be wrong on how Hue works. If I'm wrong, someone please let me know in the comments. But I think that was the best turn to Hue. We're just going to see pass. It's like, there we go. There's the passing. There's the passing. There's the passing. Pass. I think low-key, Enrique's about to deck first. But he's got the Sacred Ash, so he's just going to Ash the Pokemon back in. I think that's his plan. If he had Hued, then this would have been 4 turns like faster, I think. And Jason has 5 cards left. So this would have been the perfect scenario to win. I think like right here, this would have been the game. There was an end still. But so I guess Jason has the lock set up like completely. There's nothing they can do. There's just an end here. And this just takes us to sudden death like 100% of the time. Wow. I think Enrique had so many turns to Hue as well. I don't think you care about your own resources at this point. You like legitimately don't care about like 90% of the cards in your deck. You just have to make sure that Jason's deck is gone. Draw pass. Yep. Jason, knowing that there's a little bit of time left on the clock, doesn't know exactly how much. Still looking at his hand, making a decision, and pretending like there's a decision to be made. There is no decision to be made. And that is time. And all 3 turns happen. Enrique reached his hand out like he was going to win. I think Enrique thought the game was over. But we're going to sudden death. And I don't think Wailord can ever win in sudden death because of the aggressive nature of Seismitoad and the lock nature of Seismitoad. I want to see who's in this crowd, actually. Let me. Kyle Sablehouse, Caster. That's all I found. All I found was Kyle Sablehouse. I didn't find anybody else. They got down to one prize, and if Enrique has an N in his opening hand, you just slam the N. But Jason's got the N with no DCE. They're both at one prize card. We're gonna see the Flare Grunt and no energy from Jason. Oh man, I think it's fine to just risk it for the biscuit and research that entire hand. Like just go nuts. I think you just go ham. Now both players can take their time. It is a sudden death scenario. There's nobody watching over your shoulder, like nothing of that sort. I think Jason's win con is a lone toad. You don't bench anything else, and you just go. You just wait. I think Jason's plays just wait till the DCE and go. Enrique, all he can do is just draw past. There's nothing you can do from this scenario. It's so unfortunate to have the game completely out of your hands in this place. It's just I'm sure the one thing his friends were telling him the night before is whatever you do, don't let it get to a sudden death scenario. That's the only thing you can't do. It's just literally the only scenario you can't let happen, kind of deal. And here we are. It's just he's gonna Zerosic the Elm Tool and Hard Charm, which is fine, but I think you just hold his Zerosic for the. I think you play cards is fine. Playing cards is correct. I think here. There's the comp search. Jason's just waiting for the laser combo. That's all he's doing. You just Hue here. You 100% just Hue. You're telegraphing the Hue, but it's okay. You're just forcing Jason to play cards, so he can't sit on this grip of cards, which is fine. I think this is a completely correct play. There's obviously a couple cards in this hand that are complete duds that you don't care about if you're Jason. So you're just pitching those float stones and those ultra balls and stuff like that because they just don't. The crushing hammers and stuff like that, they don't matter. But you're literally just sitting and waiting for the combination of cards that is N plus DCE plus laser plus Furbank. And then as soon as you hit those pieces, you go. Jason's like, hey, let me take a look. What the hell did you discard? You never even bench the second toad. It doesn't even matter. It's a minuscule difference. It's just a potential Lysander target. There's a muscle band. I think you throw it on. I think he's waiting completely. Okay. Water. I think you can put the water on. Force a Flare Grunt, maybe. Nope. Not even doing that. He has access to One Piece. His research again. This is so many turns that a DC. This is actually kind of sad for Jason. I kind of feel for him actually. I think you just Zerosic the tool. Yep. Enrique cannot do anything here, to be honest. There's another piece. Jason, you can see that his posture has changed a little bit. He understands that's another piece that has been locked in. There it is. There's the whole combo. Now it's go time if you're Jason. DC, Muscle Band, Verbank City, Computer Search, Toad, and Ultra Ball probably. Toad Muscle. The Ultra Ball becomes Shaman. Shaman lets you draw cards. Sure, that's fine. For the Hypnotoxic Laser. Come on, slam that bad boy. This is Jason knows that the moment this goes into sudden death, it's so hard to lose from this point. It's so incredibly hard. Enrique is going down to a 1-card hand, 2 with a draw, and his deck doesn't play that much reliable draw. The deck plays Hugh, the deck plays Shauna, and that's literally it, pretty much. And there is the N, and the Quaking. Well, the damage is preemptively on there. Enrique is just... I think he's a little bit on tilt. You can kind of tell by his facial expression. He's shaking his head. He knows it's kind of... There's a Hard Charm and an 80 damage. Draw for turn. A second Wailord, but that doesn't do anything. But you just bench it anyway. To prevent getting N looped really is what you're doing this for. Cassius top deck! He gets to stay in the game. I think that was the only prayer that Enrique had there. It's still not looking good for you if you're Enrique. You gotta draw cards, but Jason can always just reset the N. There's another laser in Jason's hand. So both players have exactly what they need. And another Quaking Punch for 80. A Via Seeker for the research into the hand, and we're going to see the research this turn because Jason said, I don't want to play with one card anymore. I want to play with some more cards. There's a Flare tool, another DCE to prevent any Xerosic top decks, any Flare Grunt top decks. Doesn't do any good for Jason in the deck. Pass. Or flip for the thing, Rough Seas, pass. I think you just slap the third DC on there too. There's no harm, no love lost. You've already committed to the strategy. There's no play here. That is the beefiest Toad I've ever seen. I think you just do not put any Trubbish or anything down. I just don't think you care. He's just going to Floatstone it. Guess. Research again. Jason has decided it's... Jason didn't play supporter this turn. He did not play supporter this turn. He's decided it's go time. He just needs to find those lasers. Just have some playable cards in his hand. Just a Rough Seas into though. Pass. And attach the Garbodor probably. Well, Enrique has the AZ, so he can just AZ and end himself. But that's not... I don't know. This such a feels bad, man. Like, Enrique had this game won, like, beyond all doubt, in my opinion. Like, I think there was all 4 DCs on a Toad. Now, who had that on their bingo card? Was there another Pokemon in there? There's not. Enrique's going to AZ himself, and there is the game. And Jason Klaczynski became your one-time national champion, as well as, well, I mean, a 3-time world champion at this point in time. I don't know if you guys see anyone in the crowd, you know, like, there it is. But that was that match. I think that was incredibly frustrating to watch from a spectator's point of view. But I think back in 2015, with the knowledge that I had, I would have just thought that that Jason played that expertly perfectly. But watching this back 7 years later with the experience that I have, there was a lot going on there. There was a lot of mishaps, mistakes, a little bit of suspect play on the time management thing, but the rules have changed significantly since 2015 on time management. And Enrique kind of jumped the gun a little bit, I think. But yeah, that will do it for this video, guys. I kind of was not as professional in this one, but I kind of just like let it flow, and I think that's a better vibe for the video. I think that's a better vibe for how I want to do these things, especially when I do them on stream, on my Twitch stream. But if you watch to the end, just comment Wailord in the comments, just the word Wailord. Or like whales in the comments. I'm going to keep doing that as well, because one day I'm going to do a giveaway for you guys who do comment. I appreciate every one of you who watches till the end, and that'll be all. I know it's a long one, but I hope you guys enjoy it.